Ho. Hello. How's everybody doing today? Ho. Good afternoon. I am Steve Benson, Mayor of the City of Mayville and Mayville State's Vice President for Business Affairs. Thank you for coming here today to find out what the big deal is. We are thrilled to let you know about an exciting opportunity for Mayville State University and our community. What isn't a surprise? Natural gas? No. Crews are all over town. Betting Benson wouldn't last a year in his second hitch at the university? No. Made 1 year Monday. Hey, So let's hold the suspense a little longer before our big deal announcement. How about a clip on campus and community?
It's a small town, so everybody get to know you eventually. They know your number, they know your name, and they also know about you, not just about football. They know your real personality, so that's amazing.
I think the community was more supportive than I even expected, and it was really awesome to see so many people in the stands and feel the support.
That's us, guys. Yeah. We are blessed to be a part of a special community and unique campus. My family and I have lived in Mayville nearly 34 years. Many folks move to town, enjoy life here, and stay, and stay, and stay. I was going to say, raise your hands if you've been here over 20 years, and a couple of the students, I think, have actually made that 20-year mark. But I know there's some in the audience that have made it too. So we appreciate you being here for an extended period of time. To have a university in a small town is really a big deal. And we have much to celebrate and be proud of. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls of all ages, we are going to let you in on the big news. Drum roll, please. We will have the distinct honor of being featured on the program Small Town Big Deal, a television news magazine program that will highlight the everyday uniqueness of our campus, community, and people, and will put us in a national spotlight. Segments of the show will be filmed during Farmers Bowl festivities, September 16 through 19. And you can see some of the highlights from episodes that they have aired in the past. So take a peek.
Yeah, we're all about a good time. Yeah, we're all about a good life.
One thing that has changed is the way Americans respect members of the military.
Thank you for your service, brother.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
These Vietnam vets say that's a very good thing.
It's wonderful. You know, these kids coming back with 4 and 5 deployments, especially these young Rangers that are literally on call all the time for a mission somewhere in the world. I'm just appreciative that my America, you know, loves them.
The memorial can be emotionally overwhelming, and so can getting to know Jim and seeing firsthand his devotion.
I tell you, Jim, I gotta shake your hand. Well, I may not be able to say this, but I'm not sure I ever met anybody. And my hope is that this show can inspire others to do what you've done.
The reenactors do their very best to help you imagine what it was like when the boats approached. And so, the invasion begins.
I took my helmet off and I looked around and I just almost got scared because it was almost like I was in the middle of the battle. Thank you for your service.
Today, my wife is helping me load out trucks. My mom and dad are running the pickers.
And your mom is running a combine, and how old is she?
She's 77.
She's like my hero. I can't wait to meet her.
Well, Jan gets her wish. She joins his mom, Ellen, in one picker. And I ride along with his dad, Glenn Lee, in the other.
Well, I'm impressed you know how to work all those buttons over there.
Well, I wouldn't say all of them.
So now when you're picking, you're going to leave some of them. You're not just going to go through and pick everything.
We call it spot picking. We do that with most all our fruit. We'll pick 5 times. There you go.
Oh, no, not that one.
Yeah, there you go. Oops.
Oops.
A good picker, he can pick 100 bushels a day.
I wouldn't be a good picker.
Oh, good catch.
Under a giant tent, we find our first shipbuilding masterpiece, one of the crown jewels in American vintage vessels.
Her original counterpart made an important voyage across the Atlantic that lasted 66 days.
Her normal cargo was wine, vinegar, and salt, but one trip carried 102 brave passengers.
They were seeking freedom and arrived in a new land November 11, 1620.
That's right, the passengers were the Pilgrims, and this is the Mayflower. Well, technically, it's the Mayflower too. The Tuskegee Airmen were members of the very first squadron of African-American pilots in the history of the U.S. Army Air Corps. This National Historic Site at Moulton Field in Tuskegee honors them.
The Tuskegee Airmen were the bombardiers, the navigators, the pilots, but they were also the grounds crew, the cooks, the mechanics.
But in the early 1940s, they still battled segregation and prejudice in many parts of the U.S. They had to fight for the right to fight for America. The Congressional Bunker is basically an enormous 112,000 square foot underground concrete box.
Congressmen would have entered through long access tunnels, then be sealed in behind huge blast doors.
Hurry, Congressman! Hurry, Senator! We're shutting the doors!
This one weighs 30 tons and is so well constructed, Jan and I could close it by ourselves.
We cheer for the teams of kids, teams of women, teams of men. And check out the Kalachki Queen and her princesses, wearing dresses and tiaras while pulling a tractor.
Golly, I'm pretty impressed.
Each round, the cherry picker goes higher. And while some make great catches,
Jan, you got any ideas on my technique?
Yeah, my ideas are don't do what I did. Get under, Rodney. Oh, no! Uh-oh, he slipped in the egg slime.
and now, back in the Jacksontown Square, the highlight of Elkfest weekend, the antler auction.
Skull cap weighs in at 15 pounds. 15 pounds on the skull cap.
Scouts show off the antlers they've gathered, while auctioneers try to coax the crowd into topping last year's total of over $173,000.
The expert and expedient staff, aptly known as handlers, kindly gave us a few pointers and put us to work. Or maybe we should say, tried to put us to work.
Put it just below the lines and try and keep it straight. When you do it that way, you tend to stretch it a little bit.
Yeah.
You try to keep it straight like that.
I was just making it for like a man with a bigger hand.
Yeah, right.
Not buying that either.
Not buying it.
And when it comes to creating a gigantic neon sign, you can't just make it up as you go. First, you need to think it through. Design it so it looks good from the ground, and engineer it so it will stay safely in place.
Then it's time for Yesco's neon artists to get to work. Only instead of working in paint or clay, they work in glass and fire.
Emboldened by Eric's enlightening demonstration, Jan and I tried our hands at bending glass.
I can feel it getting loose.
Keep rolling it around.
Ah!
Okay, come out.
Yeah!
And put that.
This kind of work would make me nervous to do it all day long.
Perfect.
Perfect. You got it perfect. You got it perfect.
You got a 10.
Let there be peace on earth. Oh, let there be peace on earth.
To know that God loved us and loves us to that degree that He would come and see us in our need, our desperate, hopelessness. God says, I'm not going to leave you hopeless, but I'm going to come and give you life.
For Him to come down out of, I don't know what heaven's like, but I think it's a whole lot better than this, and you would leave that to come and be in a manger and then to live His life and be persecuted and then to die on a cross for our sins so that we could all have salvation. Is like, why do you do that? It's hard to understand that kind of love.
Well, that's what we celebrate at Christmas.
Unique variety of shows. Can't wait to see what they can portray of our community. Before I introduce the host to the program, let's take a pan around and with the cameras and let Jan get a look at who we got in the crowd today. Hey. Some of us are Norwegian and can't do the wave very good, so. I'm going to introduce now the hosts of Small Town Big Deal, Rodney Miller and Jan Carl. Rodney Miller, the creator and co-host, has enjoyed a long career in farm machinery manufacturing and sales, serving as CEO of both McCormick International and Montana. Rodney wanted to shine a spotlight on small towns and farm communities, and his desire became a reality. Unfortunately, he will not be joining us today. Jan Carl is an Emmy award-winning news reporter and TV show producer. She spent 14 years as an anchor on Entertainment Tonight. She also has a farm background. Ms. Carl will join us by Zoom. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Let me hear you.
Hey.
Great. So it's very sad that Rodney could not be here. He actually has a sort of a medical thing that has come up, and that is the only thing that would have prevented him from being here, because he is extremely excited about coming, as we all are. But, and maybe saying this when he has a medical procedure coming up is morbid, but he always says, I was born a farmer and I hope to die a farmer. And he always says, if it happens today, I've succeeded. So let's just hope that doesn't happen today. Okay, but that's how he feels about it. So what you saw on that tape was actually sort of the long version. We have a quicker, faster paced version of a tape that perhaps the college crowd might really, really like. So just bear with me. We do have that as well. But I will tell you this, I did do hard news, and then I was in Los Angeles for 34 years, and 14 of those years was at Entertainment Tonight. It was a lot of red carpets, and it was the Academy Awards, and it was, the Grammys and all of that. But my heart was really always more interested in the stories of sort of more ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And I think what you guys do with the Farmer's Bowl is an extraordinary thing. And that is why we have decided to come and to be there with you. It gives you an idea. So we are nationally syndicated. The show runs on about 297 TV stations across the country. We are also on a network called RFD. So if some of you are into agriculture, then you know RFD. We're on primetime Thursday nights on RFD. We also were approached by the Armed Forces Network to give our show to them. They kind of every network will give their show to them. I mean, ABC and NBC and CBS and Fox and everybody, wants to donate their show. But they said there was something about us featuring sort of America's heartland and a lot of small towns, they said would make a lot of their servicemen and women, feel good and make them think of home in a positive way. So we're excited that we also air on that as well. We have shot in 45 states, I think, could be 45, 46. I have to look at our last count. And it's because of the Farmer's Bowl and Mayville State University. You're the reason that we are coming to North Dakota for the very first time. So you should feel very good about that. We're very excited about that. The highlights that we've done, it's everything from a tug of war across the Mississippi River, which was about a half mile wide. Army Corps of Engineers actually shuts down the river and shuts down the commerce on the river for a few hours for these two towns, one in Illinois and one in Iowa, to have this tug of war. We've covered things like that to, well, you saw sort of the story of where Rodney was getting very choked up. The gentleman that was the Vietnam War veteran that went back home. He was a butcher in a very, very small town in Missouri, and he ended up putting away a little bit of money every single week and taking it down to the local guy that would invest it for him. He must have been like Forrest Gump, but he must have bought like Walmart and I don't know, Apple, because he ended up giving away $2.5 million in savings to create that replica of the Vietnam War Memorial for people who can't make it all the way to Washington, D.C., but might be able to make it to, in the middle of the country. So 1 minute we're doing crazy things like the tug of war. We've done, did you see the guys going off the bridge? That's in West Virginia. It's called Bridge Day. It's one of the few places and the few times where it is legal to do a base jump from a bridge in America. So our stories are quite varied, from the Christmas special to agriculture, military, towns getting together to celebrate their heritage, some kooky contests sometimes. But what I think is probably the thing that ties all those stories together is heart. And that is the heart of the town, the heart of the people in the town. And I know that even though it may not be your hometown, if you're a student there, it becomes your town while you are there. I know that I went to the University of Missouri. Columbia, Missouri, became my hometown, and I consider it sort of one after spending my 4 years there. Yeah, I want to see who's there for 20 years. That is a problem. We have to talk. Okay, it's time to move on. But I just want to tell you how excited we are, and that we're going to tell a lot of great stories. And I do believe, if I am correct, the correct thing for me to say next is beat the Trojans. Is that right? Yeah. So I think that's who the game is going to be against, correct? For the Farmers Bowl. So we will see you in September. We're very excited. We have a bunch of the shows on YouTube. Also, if you're going to be friends and followers on Facebook, you'll get a sense of who we are. But yeah, so get ready for your close-up, because you guys are going to be on national TV on Small Town Big Deal. We look forward to it. Thanks for having me today.
We appreciate your comments and look forward to you visiting North Dakota. President Van Horn has a few closing comments.
First, thank you, Jan, to you and Rodney for your efforts and your interest in coming and visiting our beautiful small town here in North Dakota. Since I arrived in Mayville, North Dakota in 2018, I recognize the beauty of this university and community. Our community doesn't exist everywhere in the world nowadays. I want to share the neighborly ways that we call normal life with the rest of the country and the world here in Mayville. There is not a better way than hosting Small Town Big Deal this fall, and again, the date, September the 16th through the 19th for our Farmers Bowl weekend. We'll celebrate our agricultural history and future while sharing our extraordinary public university education here at Mayville State University. This is our opportunity to really show the world what a special place that we call home. We want to thank Rodney and Jan for what they do to recognize the value of rural education and rural living. Further, we give our heartfelt thank you for making Mayville your first North Dakota visit, Jan.
Absolutely.
Small Town Big Deal airs on KXJB on Sundays and KVLY on Saturdays. Again, our dates will be the 16th to the 19th for the host and their crews to be here. She mentioned 268 national TV stations and over 1 million viewers a week. That's a big deal for our small community. Thank you to all our students, faculty, and staff and community partners. We've got the mayor of Hillsboro. We've got the mayor of Mayville right here doing our emceeing, and many other dignitaries in the room. Thank you to all of our community partners, our students, faculty, and staff for making this an outstanding place to live and to work. We appreciate your time this afternoon and your participation in this announcement. We're comment proud of Mayville State and our community, where extraordinary people do extraordinary things in Mayville, North Dakota, and our region. We look forward to having you, Jan and Rodney, and we can't wait until September comes when we can beat up on another football team and show what we're all about here in Mayville, North Dakota. Thank you much.